Hi, and welcome everybody to Every Moment His. This is a special episode where we get to talk to Skye Peterson, who will soon come and have a concert here at Holy Cross. And so we're excited to get to know her a little bit and talk to her and tell her some dad jokes.
Can't wait. Can't
All
wait.
right, all right. So, how do you cut a piece of wood if it's underwater?
Gosh, I have
Jolene, can you guess it?
I was trying to think. I would have no idea.
A seesaw.
no idea. Oh
That makes sense.
I don't even know how to do I fake laugh? Do I do I get
We usually aim for groans, and yeah,
That's pretty great.
it's sufficient. Yeah.
That's probably like good enough. I think that one was so thoroughly, dad joke. You
Yeah.
can just
Yeah.
kind of move on.
Essentially-
Maybe at the end. you
Dad
can-
joke standards for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think there's this is like a third grader dad joke, or a second grader dad joke where they just really like funny words put together, it just works on that level. Don't have to think too hard. It's
Mhm.
not like double entendre or anything. It's just simple wordplay,
So good.
So good.
I bet that Skye has to use a lot of wordplay when she writes her songs. I mean, I would think that words would be important to her. Do you write jokes into your music or hide Easter eggs in your music? How do you form? What's your lyric process like? Since we're speaking of words and their formation.
I'm definitely not I don't use jokes in my songs, but I like the idea of it. My husband is a great songwriter and he's really good at doing exactly that, where you kind of you're laughing in the first verse and then by the end you're crying because it means so much. I can make you cry. I don't think I can make you laugh, but yeah, no, it's my lyrical process is honestly so different depending on the song. It's very much it's like a line will come to me and then basically the whole song seems like it's basically written in my head whenever I come up with the line, but it takes me a long time to come up with what that one line is that the whole song is centered around. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
don't know.
looking for
I'm
like
supposed to know.
one thread to kind of capture a big idea.
Yep. And
Hmm.
whether that's the chorus or at the end of every verse, something that kind of tie it all together. And then it's basically if you can think of that one line, then it's all of the verses are basically just approaching that theme in a different way.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
That sounds a little bit like preaching, actually.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like thinking oh, that's if you can take a sermon and get it down to one sentence and then you vary on that and try to drive the point home. Um, that's an interesting way of approaching music. I've tried to write music, and I think, I appreciate people who have that gift. I really think that's a gift from God. Um, and one of the things I've always struggled with is do you start with the lyrics and then add chords, or do you start with the chords and then add lyrics, or is it somewhere kind of in between?
That's a great question. Uh, it's kind of in the in between. It really is. A lot of times uh I'll be on I love writing songs while I'm on a plane because it's no Wi-Fi, can't text anyone.
Hmm.
And so it's just yeah, just you and your phone basically. And I love writing lyrics on planes. And so sometimes I'll hear a melody in my head as I'm writing the words. And then I'll kind of come home and I'll just pull up the lyrics and then write music to it. But other times it's the complete opposite way around, where I'll be at the piano and I'll just kind of be mumbling, and then all of a sudden I'll find a word that sounds cool, and then I'll be like, oh, that's what the song is about, and then we'll just kind of finish writing it there. Yeah. Sorry for these vague answers. It really is just so different depending on the song, which is interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
You said it can take a long time to kind of get a song finished. Like when you say a long time, are you mean like 6 months? Or like how long?
Here's another vague answer.
Yeah, we're ready.
It's so interesting because a lot of times I write to process things. I write for a lot of reasons, but one of the main things is just as an avenue to like figure out what I think about something. And so if like something happens to me, good or bad, normally my reaction is to go upstairs, shut the door, and sit down at the piano and write a song about it. And so if something dramatic kind of happens in my life, normally a song will come out that night
Hmm.
just because I have to do something with the emotions or the thoughts. But songs that I like aren't from a place of like um just emotion and more of a place of actually like writing song for someone or about a thing I've been thinking about. That can take, a week or two.
Hmm.
Sometimes months, depending on how patient I am.
Hmm.
I like what
Cool.
you
Our
said
Sunday
about,
school kids
go
have
ahead.
been singing the song "I Am Not My Own."
Oh wow.
And they've sang it
That's
in
so
church,
cool.
and our praise team has sang it, and they're going to actually come on stage and sing with you. So I'd like to know just about that song. How did you write that one? What came to you first? Tell us a little bit about that one, since that's
Yeah.
special to us here.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much. What an honor. That's so, so amazing. I can't wait to sing it with the kids. That song was so I'm also on a team of hymn writers right now with Keith and Kristen Getty. And so I'm a staff writer for them. So what that looks like is just every week or so I try to send them a song and they can choose to record it or not. But there's so I write twice a week with my friend Ben Shive, who's kind of my like writing buddy on that team. And twice a week we just meet up and we have like 3 hour time slots, but an hour and a half of that is like talking and just talking about life and what's going on. And at the end of those conversations, which are not forced, very just like natural talk about life, then we'd like try to write a song about whatever we're talking about. And there's a lot of the themes of what the Gettys are kind of aiming for is like timelessness, that like whenever you write a song, um, try to make it sound like it's existed for the last 50 years and also will go on for the next 100 years. And I like the concept, and I also don't know if I agree 100% because I think a lot of the best hymns were written for their people, their community, their specific time, what's going on in their lives and their friends' lives, um and I don't think it was on purpose for it to last 100 years, but I think it just did. And so a lot of what Ben and I
Hmm.
try to do is write to our friends, and like so a couple of our songs were written for Ben's an elder at his church, so we like talk a lot about the themes of what's going on in his life and his church. And then but the song "I'm Not My Own" was, we were talking about identity and like how and kind of the questions that keep coming up in my friend circles of just what is truth? Is there truth? Like who do we listen to? How do we, with all of the different opinions on, I mean, like my friend group is very diverse politically and and so yeah, like how do we like write a song that like honors God and what he says about certain things, and how can we humbly push back against some of the more modern ideas in the Christian world of belief.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the song that came out of that was "I'm Not My Own," and I really love it. And it's been really cool to see how the spirit has kind of sorry, my husband just walked in with a bag of Chick-fil-A.
It's good news.
Yeah. Uh, but it's been cool to see how the spirit has just really made that song flourish. And one of the coolest things that I've experienced about songwriting in general is that I write the songs, but it's mostly just the spirit that makes it grow, and I can just kind of like sit back and see what those words do for people. And it's so freeing to know it's not on my shoulders at all. It's like it's all the spirit, and it's all the words that I write aren't about me at all. And so it's easy to be proud of the work because it doesn't really feel like mine. And yeah, so I love that song, and I'm glad you do too.
I Jolene talked a little bit about our Sunday school kids, and what I loved about that song is that they're singing the opposite of what they're hearing everywhere. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so I think of like there's a song by Pearl Jam called I Am Mine,
Okay.
and it's the complete opposite of what you're saying in your
Mm.
song. And I just love how that is sanctification, is that I am not my own. And we're preaching through the main parts of the of Luther's Small Catechism.
Mm.
And one of the lines in there is that I may be his own and live under him in his kingdom.
Mm.
And it reminds me of Heidelberg too, Catechism, the that I am belong to him, body and soul.
Yeah.
And it was neat for me as we were having communion. I think it was 2 weeks ago, seeing people singing that as they were coming to the Lord's table. It kind of had a moving effect on me to
Mm.
think, wow. And what you said is true, the humbly pushing back, because I think that sometimes Christians don't do that. They they don't exhibit the fruits of the Spirit in their bearing witness to truth, but they will get angry or scared. And what a beautiful message. So I'm rambling now, but there just a lot of as a pastor, it really fills my heart to see our people singing that type of nourishing those nourishing lyrics.
Wow, thank you. Well, yeah, I think what you just said is so true. Like the idea that it's not about me, it's a foreign concept to a lot of my friends actually. And uh it's just easy to feel like the main character of your own story. And I remember my dad told me once, like if you're the main character of your story, you're telling it wrong.
Hmm.
Uh, and like I feel like the song the goal was to be like, hey, actually this life isn't about you. Like and and that's like a good thing. It's not like a bummer. It's actually it's like freeing, and it's good that you're not the main character because it means that you're a part of something so much bigger. The way you treat your body isn't for you, it's for someone else, and that's good. It's not sad, it's good.
I
Yeah.
think that really pushes into, like you said, it's a good thing that you're not the main character of your story, because if you were, that would be really bad news. And you really should be very anxious, like we live in such an anxious age. And I think a lot of it comes down to this. It's like you're trying to author the whole world, and you're trying to author your whole story. And I do think there's a lot of freedom in just saying what the scriptures say. You were bought with your price. You were not your own. So honor God with your body, but
Yeah.
just belonging to the God who created the heavens and the earth, being redeemed or purchased by Him is like it's very freeing, because it's just okay, you're along for the ride, but the main character, in the story already has victory, so you can kind of chill out a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
no, maybe don't take yourself so seriously. You know, that's
Yeah.
very useful.
Mm, that's so good. I love that. Mm.
So how'd you get your start in music? What was your first instrument? How old were you? And what made you choose this as a career? Tell us about that process. I know your dad does music. How did you decide, yep, I'm gonna do that too?
Good question. I have always kind of written songs just for fun and for processing and for prayer and for praise, and it's just has kind of slowly turned into something that I did more and more, and would share songs at the youth group talent show. I know, big stage. And then yeah, I would just help lead worship. Sandra McCracken, I don't know if y'all know her, but she's like one of my songwriting heroes. But she was the worship leader at our church, and so I'd sing with her, um, just in high school, and got to experience what it was like um to like love music. And I mean, Nashville is just surrounded by, I mean, I have maybe two friends that aren't doing music right now, and so most of Nashville, it just has this kind of like, Nashville has this like pulse of energy that is just believes in art and believes in beauty and believes in the making of both of those things. And so it's kind of hard to not want to do music related things. But then I went to there's this Bible school that I went to in England and studied there for a year. There was like a 1 year program that I did. And I went there not to study music, but to study the Bible because I didn't know if music was something I wanted to do full time. I just knew I loved to do it. And I also knew I loved Jesus and thought that studying Jesus would probably make me a better songwriter too. And having having lots of inspiration, but also just becoming a better person and a better human, and experiencing something big felt like a great avenue to experience more of God's grace and his kindness and also strengthen my songwriting skills. So I went there and then I moved back to Nashville. That's not true. I lied. I moved to Kentucky where I studied at this Bible school. And after a semester, I was home on Christmas break, and I hopped on my dad's Behold the Lamb of God tour, which is a tour that goes across the states, big tour bus, and I met this man named Tom on the tour bus who was running the merch table, and I was helping with the merch table, so I was getting to know him. And at the same time, I met Ben Shive, who I now write with twice a week, and he had already been working with the Gettys, and we wrote a song called "Take Shelter" on that tour together, and he sent it to the Gettys, and the Gettys were like, "Hey, Skye, you should move back to Nashville and come work for us." So, which was convenient because I had a crush on this guy named Tom who lived back in Nashville. So, dropped out of college, and then like a week after that was in an apartment with a boyfriend and a publishing deal, and it was very quick turnaround. And so you were asking like how I got into music, like career wise. I didn't mean to. It was very much like I was planning on doing school for 4 years, and then within a week, I was like, all right, my whole life completely turned around. And Tom has played such a amazing role in kind of help and encouraging me and making pushing me to make music that I actually like and I would listen to too. But also to kind of be in the Christian music scene and represent it in a way that doesn't feel how do I say? There are a lot of connotations that come with Christian music. There's I think there's a lot of bad Christian music out there. And I just want to add to the good stuff. And worship. Whenever if you think Christian music, it's easy to just think hands in the air. And to me, following God looks like sometimes hands in the air and also means sometimes it looks like fists in the air at God. And I kind of want to like write songs that paint the whole picture of what it's like to follow Jesus and how it's not always this happy experience. A lot of times it's really hard and worth it 100%, but it's really hard. And a lot of my hesitations growing up whenever I thought about God was that people seem to have it all together around me, that like faith looked like this kind of easygoing emotional experience all the time. And that's just not been my experience of God. It's looked like instead of big, massive burning bushes, it's looked like little daffodils in my front yard and a kiss on the cheek from my husband. And the way that God has kind of shown his grace to me has been through stories and through relationships and not these like massive, crazy things. And as soon as sorry, this is a long answer. As soon as I kind of have been realizing that maybe a daffodil is as big as a burning bush, and then I see God's grace lavished everywhere, like throughout my whole life, and I can see all the ways that he's loved me well and consistently. And how did I get there? Anyway, moving back to Nashville was a big life-changing thing. Fell into music on accident, but love it now.
What you just said about, burning bush and daffodil and, Christianity being hard. It reminded me of your song Guessing Games.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, well,
That's so sweet.
I listened to that and I think for me, a mark of a good song is when you can you can hear the song and say, oh, you too, like, oh, I feel that, I resonate with that. And the song reminded me of just, those emotional experiences, those kind of times of intensity in the faith. And for me, that would definitely be high school. And but then feeling like distance from that and feeling like where is God in my life? And maybe he's not working in my life the same way that he did at that time. It seemed really intense then. It seems really steady. And at times, things that you felt are more like ideas that you feel distant from at times. And so anyways, that song just resonated with me because in a way it was comforting to hear another Christian say, that God, the Holy Spirit is present with us when we feel him and when we don't. That's kind of the way I interpreted that song. So I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that song, but that's one that I really appreciated.
No, thank you so much. That's an older song. I actually haven't thought about that song in a very long time, so I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, the idea, the new record is actually a lot of about exactly what you just said. The steadiness of like our feelings go like this, and God is just like this through line, this like the steady heartbeat that is kind of keeping my faith alive. And I think a lot of my high school, like you were mentioning, was just full of people whose reactions to my love were was kind of like denial, and then vice versa. Sometimes I would deny my friends love, and I so growing up it was like, oh, God loves that way too. Like if I mess up, God's out of here, God's gonna deny me. And then vice versa, if God messes up, I'm out of here, no more of this. And it was really inconsistent. And since I guess since college really, it's been the slow kind of unlearning of that idea, that which honestly I just feel like so much of growing up is just unlearning things. But unlearning the idea that God wavers, and he just doesn't. His kindness is like the bottom line. I really believe that his kindness is the bottom line, and his spirit is going to be with us, regardless of whether or not we feel it or know it or want it. I also think his grace is given even if we don't receive it. I think that it's just love, 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 love. And should we choose to accept it, it's good for us, and it's like healthy, and it like is a way to offer back the love that he gives to us. But I think he still loves us regardless.
You're gonna choke me up. That's beautiful.
Good stuff. Do you you're talking about that experience of maybe seeing a veneer of Christianity and the reality of it's a struggle. There's to be a Christian is to struggle in many ways. I know your dad has a lot of songs about this kind of thing too, like resurrection letters. And do you have one that kind of puts a finger on that for you, or
Of my dad's or my
yeah, of your dad's music?
Oh gosh. Do you guys know the song Silence of God?
I don't know that I do.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites of his. But yeah, it really speaks about that tension that comes along with following him. Yeah.
Cool.
So many. Yeah, so many that speak into that idea, but it's my favorite. Yeah.
So as people in Kearney, Nebraska, I don't know, have you ever been to Nebraska, first of
I
all? But
haven't.
as the people in Kearney, Nebraska think about what they want to do on Friday night, September 27th with their time, and there's lots of demands and things people could do, like why should they come to your concert? Why should a family
My
choose
sales
to
pitch.
Yeah.
My sales pitch is I don't know. I don't know how to convince people to come, but I'm gonna tell some stories and gonna sing some songs, and I'll have a keys player so it'll sound hopefully good. And honestly, I just feel like listening on Spotify is one thing, but to actually get to like see the like our faces and that we're really just people, and technically we're on a stage, maybe. I don't know what the building is like, but really we're just people. And I would love to connect with whoever is there too. It's so much of songwriting is like the community aspect of it. It just brings people and draws people together. So I love doing the show, but I really just love getting to meet people. Yeah.
Awesome. Is this a
Sweet.
pretty long tour? How long are you going to be? I assume you're going to be in Nashville for Sing coming up here soon.
I am. Yeah, the tour it's long. Technically, it's about 30 shows, but it's spread out mainly just on weekends, which is great because I get to be home with my husband and yeah, kind of get to live a little bit of a rhythm. But yeah, it's about 30 shows. Never been to Nebraska before. I'm really excited. And yeah, I feel like I'm getting to go to some new fun places this fall too. So really excited.
I've
Awesome. We're
really
excited. We're excited to have you.
We are.
I've really appreciated the Sing conference. Like Jolene, you've been how many times?
I think 3. This one next week will be my 4th one.
Okay.
Wow, amazing.
And I've really loved seeing what you brought back from that. We have a traditional service where we have a traditional liturgy and hymns, but then we also have more of a blended services where we do I guess you could call it contemporary music. And I've always been just kind of I grew up with contemporary music, but I kind of grew dissatisfied with it because it just seemed to be, I don't know if repetitive is the word or just it I lacked theological substance. And I've always loved what Jolene's brought back from Sing because we're singing these really deep, robust, profound words that I mean I sing those songs and I just feel nourished if that's the right word. And so it's been neat to have Jolene go to Sing. Yeah. Maybe one day you'll get the pastors to come too.
I'd
I
love
would
that.
go.
I
Is it too
think
late?
that'd be awesome.
Is it too late, Jillian?
I don't know. I think they'd probably let you in if you bought a ticket.
Yeah.
I'd say go for it.
So Skye, my daughter is a really big fan of yours,
Oh,
and she's a singer. Like she just naturally has most of her life just sings. And there was a particular phase in like maybe a year and a half ago where like every single time she would take a shower, she would put on the Wing Feather Saga
my gosh.
and she would sing Jurgen's tune or My Love Has Gone Across the Sea.
Oh
And
my
I
word.
I I literally loved it because except for the fact that she would take 30 minutes in the shower, but she would sing and really try to match your voice and
Oh my
really pay
gosh.
attention. And so she said, you have to ask her if she can sing one of those songs, Jurgen's tune or My Love Has Gone Across the Sea from the
Word.
Wing Feather Saga.
Oh my word. Wow. Well, I think I was like probably 10 when I recorded that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if I could hit those notes anymore, but I can see what I can do. Maybe I can play it for her before or after the show. I would love that.
Okay, give it a shot. She would love to hear that.
That's
And yeah, it's your vocal work in those songs is very impressive.
awesome.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know because those notes are pretty high and it's just very,
Yeah.
it sounds
Auto
like a difficult
auto
part,
tune,
but
baby. That's how we do it.
cool.
Yeah. Or at least back then. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I promised her I'd ask, so
Glad you did. What's
Oh,
her name?
Amelia.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
excited to meet Amelia. That's great.
awesome.
I have one more question, if you don't mind, if while we're
Yeah.
wrapping up here. What you had said about some of the opposite messages that people are hearing that, you are your own rather than you are not your own. And also just the way that Christianity can be hard, that following the Lord can be difficult. It's not always easy. One of the things that we have been talking about a lot in our congregation, and I think it's one of the wounds that people bear in our congregation, is that we've had kids who've been raised in the church, they've been baptized, they've been catechized, they've been taught, um, and then we see them drift and no longer walk with the Lord, and that's just something that I think that everybody's touched by in our congregation and probably in every congregation right now. And so I was just wondering if you would have anything to say from your perspective, you know, being in the generation of a lot of those that we're losing. Do you have anything to say to that, with regard to
Mm.
just people's hearts being brought back to the Lord and or um,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, good question. The short answer is I don't know. Uh, a lot of what I have heard from my generation of friends who have walked away or just really struggled to uh, want want to be involved with Jesus in any way, has just been the way that the church has treated people who walk away. And it's really hard to know how to respond to it because my tendency, I love fixing things. Like my tendency is to be a helper. Like if there's something wrong, I'm gonna try to jump in and fix it. And I've realized that a lot of what some of my closest friends have needed is just someone to just be like, I love you. I love you. Like, you're welcome here. I love you. Come sleep in our guest room. Like, come make dinner with us. We don't have to talk about anything. I love you. And having like being steady as a Christian to someone who's walking away and not forcing the conversations to try to bring them back is really hard and kind of scary as the believer and watching their friend walk away. But it's from what I've experienced, a lot of it is the urgency that the Christians feel to bring them back, and they forget to like love them on the way to trying to bring them back. Or like even like them. Maybe like is a better word, to just enjoy them. But I don't know. It is, and also, last thing I'll say is just like that's where I think the Spirit comes in. I think the Spirit loves to work with us. That he's almost like he's like a coworker or something. That he's like, hey, go out and I'll do this with you. Like I'm gonna share my love for my kids through you, and it's really not on our shoulders. And I really believe that like God knows those who belong to him, and our duty, I think, what do I know, but I think our duty is just to love his people. And what that love actually looks like, I don't know, but I think I just want to love and like God's people.
But you said you'd make me cry, and you're right. You're not even singing a song, and you've already got me choked up two
Oh my
times.
God! Wow. Well,
So to pull myself together, I have to know what's up with the Steelers sign behind your head. What's going on with
oh
that?
my gosh, my husband is a big Steelers fan. Oh look, yeah, my brother drew that. I don't even know who that is. I should. There's the purple towel. Anyway, he's a big fan.
Okay.
I am slowly starting to understand the rules of football, and I can't believe how confusing it is for so many people to just like know it and like it. I'm still like 2 years after dating Tom, I'm still like, how does this game work?
So you are recently married then?
October. We're going on a
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So
awesome.
he's pretty great. Chick-fil-A biscuit right now as we speak.
Awesome.
Aw.
It's worth being a Steelers fan for Tom.
Are you guys Steelers fans?
No.
Who's your
We
team?
don't even have an NFL team, so
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we,
don't?
we just have the Huskers and
yeah,
that's it.
yep.
So
If he'll bring me a Chick-fil-A biscuit, I'm in.
Yeah, that's
He's
her
like,
that's her
I'm good.
price.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well,
Well,
thank you,
it's so
Skye,
great
so
to meet
much.
you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome meeting you.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for the concert next week. It's gonna be great.
Mhm.
Thanks for your
Looking
time
forward to
today.
it.
It means a lot.
Of course.
Yep. So September 27th, Friday. we
7
get to
o'clock.
Welcome you, and some lucky people will get to sing with you too, and some kids will be singing, and it's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thanks for listening to this episode. We hope it was useful for you. If you found this particularly useful, you can share this episode with friends or family. You can also subscribe to our podcast in whatever platform you're using, or give us a review. That really helps other people find our podcast. This is also a teaching ministry of Holy Cross in Kearney, Nebraska. And so if you do not have a church, we would love to welcome you into our community, to build you up and to share the joy of salvation with you and the rest of the members here at Holy Cross.